Picture this. You've dedicated your entire summer to nurturing your lawn, transforming it into a pristine green carpet. But now September rolls around, and a single misstep in its care can undo all that hard work. Come spring, instead of vibrant, lush grass, you might be left with nothing but sad, patchy spots and stubborn weeds. Today, we're going to dive into the most common yet damaging mistake in autumn lawn care: improper mowing. I'll explain exactly why the urge to tidy things up before winter can literally devastate your lawn. Stick with me until the end, and you'll discover one simple trick that will help you greet spring with a gorgeous emerald green lawn instead of a major headache. So it's September. For many homeowners, this is the season for a big yard cleanup. It feels perfectly logical to get everything in order before the long winter, and that includes the lawn. You might even find your hand instinctively reaching to lower those mower blades, eager to get that final cut done, making everything look neat and tidy. But here's where we often miss the crucial point. Your lawn isn't just a patch of grass, it's a living organism. And in September, it's not dying off, it's actively preparing for its toughest challenge, winter. It's recalibrating all its internal processes to survive the freezing temperatures. Our job is to help it succeed, not hinder its vital preparations. Let's start right at the beginning by exploring the mindset of the typical homeowner. I'm sure many of you can relate to this scenario. Picture this. It's September. The season is drawing to a close, and a nagging thought starts to creep in. Time to get everything perfectly tidy before winter hits. We rake leaves, prune bushes, and, inevitably, our gaze falls upon our lawn, and instinctively your hand reaches for the lawnmower's height adjustment lever, lowering it to the absolute minimum. That inner voice whispers, let's give it one last, super short cut. Scalp it, almost to the ground. That way, come spring, we won't have those ugly yellow, winter-worn patches. The whole yard will look neat and tidy right up until the snows arrive. This desire to finish the season strong and put a neat bow on it is completely understandable. It feels like the most logical, even the right thing to do. But here's the paradox. That seemingly sound logic, that drive for perfectionism, is actually the biggest trap, one that even seasoned gardeners fall into. We believe we're doing our lawn a favour, providing the ultimate care. But in reality, we're unknowingly setting the stage for a host of problems come spring. That final, super short cut isn't the grand finale of perfect lawn care. It's a one-way ticket to bare patches, rampant disease, and a weak, struggling lawn next season. Let's put our desires aside for a moment and consider this from the grass's perspective. For your lawn, that kind of drastic late-season cut isn't just a minor inconvenience. It's a massive shock, a real source of deep stress. To truly grasp this, let's use a simple analogy. Imagine a marathon runner who spent an entire year relentlessly training for the most important race of their life. Then, just a day before the big event, all their food and water are confiscated, forcing them to run at their absolute limit, relying solely on their internal reserves. Sounds absurd, doesn't it? Well, that's precisely what you're doing to your lawn. Winter, for your grass, is that very marathon of survival, and a shortcut is akin to stripping it of all its vital reserves right before the starting gun. Instead of calmly accumulating vital nutrients and fortifying its root system for the impending frosts, the grass is forced into a frantic state, diverting all its energy to immediate survival. It desperately attempts to regrow even a little green mass, just to compensate for the sudden losses. It expends precious energy, originally earmarked for winter dormancy, on this emergency restoration. As a result, your lawn enters winter not strong and prepared, but utterly depleted and vulnerable. Let's take a quick trip back to high school biology for just a couple of minutes. Grass blades are more than just green tips. They're the plant's very own energy factories, its personal solar panels. It's through them, via photosynthesis, that grass converts sunlight into the nutrients it needs to feed itself. In summer, with plenty of sun and long days, your lawn can easily bounce back from frequent mowing. But come autumn, the situation shifts dramatically. Daylight hours shrink noticeably, and the sun's strength diminishes, the work of these factories becomes absolutely crucial. Every green blade, every single centimetre of its length, is incredibly valuable. So when you run your mower, set to its lowest height, you're not just giving the grass a trim, you're committing an act of industrial sabotage. You're essentially demolishing all its energy stations at the most critical moment. You're robbing your lawn of its final opportunity to store vital energy for the long, dark, and cold winter ahead. It's akin to destroying all the batteries and generators in your house right before a major power outage. So, what exactly are these vital nutrients we've been discussing? Primarily, we're talking about sugars. These are what the grass produces through photosynthesis, storing them in its roots and the very base of the plant near the soil. And this is where the crucial secret to successful overwintering lies. Come autumn, these sugars serve a much greater purpose than just food for the grass. They act as a natural antifreeze. Yes, you heard that right. Genuine antifreeze. The higher the concentration of sugars in the plant's cell sap, the lower its freezing point. It's a simple law of physics. This allows the grass to survive harsh frosts without turning into brittle ice. But when you cut your lawn too short, you disrupt this vital process. The lawn simply doesn't have time to accumulate enough of this antifreeze. Then, with the very first serious freezes, the water inside its cells freezes, forming sharp ice crystals. These crystals literally tear the cell walls apart from the inside. This is the physical demise of the grass at a cellular level from which it cannot recover. Now, let's tackle one of the most common and damaging myths I constantly hear. It goes like this: a short lawn overwinters better because tall grass will rot and smother. This myth is widely circulated by word of mouth, and at first glance it sounds perfectly logical. However, the reality is precisely the opposite. Let's consider, what exactly is this smothering phenomenon they refer to? Essentially, it's the activity of fungi and bacteria thriving in conditions of high humidity and poor air circulation. And here's the crucial point. The most vulnerable to these processes isn't a strong, taller lawn, but rather a weakened one. That's the very lawn you've cut too short and deprived of its vital energy reserves. It simply lacks the immunity and strength to resist diseases effectively. Strong grass, on the other hand, with ample nutrient reserves, is far more successful at fending off fungal infections. So, ironically, in our attempt to protect the lawn from this mythical smothering, we are actually creating the perfect conditions for real diseases to thrive, making our grass an easy target for any pathogen. Speaking of protection, let's reconsider grass, viewing it not as separate blades, but as a cohesive cover, a natural carpet. That taller grass we leave untouched for winter performs yet another vital function. It creates a natural air cushion just above the soil surface. Air becomes trapped among the blades, serving as one of nature's finest natural insulators. This is a small but incredibly effective thermal blanket for the lawn's most vulnerable part, its root system, or more precisely, the tillering node, the very point from which new grass sprouts. This insulating air layer smooths out drastic temperature swings. It shields the roots from early harsh frosts that would otherwise hit bare soil, and from bitter, icy winds. A closely mown lawn, however, lacks this natural defence. Its root system is left exposed, facing frost, wind, and an unforgiving layer of ice. It's akin to stepping outside in the dead of winter without a hat or scarf. The chances of getting sick, or rather freezing to death, are dramatically increased. Picture this: we've left our lawn short, weakened, and vulnerable. What's waiting for us in the spring? A whole host of unwelcome visitors. The most common and frustrating of these is snow mould, also known as fusarium. It's a fungal disease that absolutely thrives under the snow, in cool, high humidity conditions. Its ideal breeding ground is a weakened lawn, one that's been over-fertilised with nitrogen and mowed too short. In spring, when the snow finally melts away, you'll be greeted by a disheartening sight on your lawn. Scattered across the entire lawn, you'll see unsightly patches of matted, dead grass, covered with a greyish or pinkish web-like coating. These are the telltale signs of snow mold's activity. These patches can be small, or they can grow and merge into huge bare areas. And the weaker your lawn was in the fall, the more extensive the damage will become springtime. Picture this. It's April or May. Everything around you is bursting with life, turning green, embracing the season. The first flowers are blooming and tiny leaves are unfurling on the trees. But your lawn, your pride and joy, instead of being a lush, vibrant green, is covered in hideous grey patches of dead, rotting grass. It's not exactly a pretty sight, to say the least. And this isn't just an aesthetic issue, it's a clear sign that your lawn is seriously sick. Those patches aren't going anywhere on their own. You'll have to dedicate significant time, effort, and money to bring it back to life. You'll be meticulously raking out all that dead grass, applying fungicides to halt the disease's spread, and then painstakingly overseeding the bare patches. So instead of soaking up the spring sunshine, you'll be performing emergency lawn surgery, all to correct a blunder made during a single autumn trim. Even if your lawn miraculously escapes a widespread snow mold attack, it's far too soon to relax, because lurking just around the corner, waiting for their moment, is another equally insidious threat, or perhaps a whole army of them. Weeds. As the old saying goes, nature abhors a vacuum, and nowhere is that more evident than in your lawn. Those areas where your turf has thinned out, suffered winter kill, or just can't bounce back quickly enough, become prime real estate. These inviting gaps are like a flashing vacancy sign for opportunistic weeds. From crabgrass and dandelions to chickweed and clover, they're all just waiting for their chance. Their seeds, carried by wind and birds, will instantly colonize any open space. Armed with robust root systems and an incredible vitality, they spread with remarkable speed. While your weakened lawn attempts to regain its strength, these aggressive invaders will swiftly stake their claim. Ultimately, come spring, you won't have a dense, green carpet. Instead, you'll be faced with a motley battlefield where your desirable turf is desperately fighting for survival against these brazen and aggressive intruders. So what's the ideal height then? After all we've discussed, this is the crucial question. Cutting your lawn too short can be detrimental, but leaving it too long only for the blades to flatten under heavy snow and potentially rot isn't a good solution either. The answer lies in a happy medium, a sweet spot refined over years by thousands of experienced gardeners. For your final autumn mow, remember this simple rule. Aim to leave your grass approximately 5-7 centimetres high. Why this specific range? It's the perfect balance. This height is, on one hand, short enough to prevent the grass from getting matted down by heavy snow, which can lead to mould and rot. On the other hand, it's perfectly sufficient for photosynthesis to continue, allowing nutrients to be stored, and crucially, for that protective air cushion to form around the root system. Think of it as your lawn's ideal winter coat. Not too light, but not excessively warm. This precise 5 to 7 centimetre height gives your lawn the best possible chance for a healthy and robust winter. Let's talk about the process itself. This is where the golden rule of mowing comes into play, a principle that holds true not just in autumn, but throughout the entire growing season. Remember this once and for all. Never remove more than 1/3 of the grass blade's total height in a single cut. It's an absolute rule. Violate it, and you'll put your lawn under significant stress, even during the warmer months. But in autumn, adhering to this rule becomes critically important, even more so. So, what does this mean in practical terms? Let's say your lawn has grown quite tall, perhaps to 10-12 centimetres. Under no circumstances should you immediately drop your mower blades to 6 to 7 centimetres and try to cut it all in one pass. That would be a huge shock to the grass. The correct approach is this. First, make an initial cut at a higher setting, perhaps around 8 to 9 centimetres. Give your lawn a few days to recover and recuperate. Only then, perform your second and final cut, lowering the blades to your desired target height of 6 to 7 centimetres. Yes, this method requires a little extra time, but this two-stage approach ensures your lawn is treated gently and safely, minimizing stress. All right, we've got the cutting height sorted, but when exactly should you do that all-important final mow of the season? September is a long month, and the weather can be quite unpredictable. Should you cut it early in the month, or wait until late October? There's no need to guess or even consult your calendar for this. Instead, you should focus solely on the weather and the behaviour of your lawn itself. The main indicator is when the grass stops its active growth. This typically happens when the average daily air temperature consistently drops to around 5 degrees Celsius. In other words, when it's cool enough, both day and night. It's at this precise moment that the grass slows down its processes and prepares for dormancy. That's when it's the ideal time for its final grooming session. Mowing too early while the weather is still warm will encourage new growth and weaken the lawn. Mowing too late, especially on frozen grass, can cause damage. So, keep a close eye on your thermometer and don't rush it. So if it's still too early for a final mow, what on earth should you be doing all September? Just twiddling your thumbs? Of course not. In fact, September is actually the perfect time for crucial treatments that will lay the foundation for your lawn's health for the entire upcoming year. And a short mow is definitely not on that list. Instead, it's time to focus on the roots, not just the blades above ground. The very first task you should tackle is aeration. This is especially true if your lawn has become compacted over the summer, seen heavy foot traffic, or if your soil is naturally heavy and clay-rich. Aeration, in its simplest form, involves punching holes into your lawn. You can do this with regular garden forks simply by pushing them 4 to 6 inches deep, or with a specialised aerator tool. So, what's the benefit? It breaks up that dense soil crust, allowing air, water, and essential nutrients direct access to the roots. Your root system can then breathe, absorb nutrients more efficiently, and develop more actively, becoming strong and resilient for the winter ahead. The next step, which goes hand in hand with aeration, is proper full fertilisation. And this is also where many homeowners make a common yet dangerous mistake. Often, out of habit or simply not knowing better, they use leftover summer fertilisers for their fall feeding. These products typically contain a high percentage of one dominant element, nitrogen. Nitrogen is the very element responsible for vigorous top growth and lush green turf. While it's essential in summer, come fall, nitrogen becomes your lawn's worst enemy. Applying nitrogen in September and October is like giving your lawn an energy drink right before bed. You're essentially forcing the grass to actively grow, expending its last reserves on tender new shoots that will inevitably perish with the first hard frost. This is a futile waste of resources that significantly weakens your lawn, just as it needs to prepare for winter dormancy. So, remember this crucial rule. Absolutely no nitrogen fertilisers in the fall. So, what do you feed your lawn then? If nitrogen is off limits, what essential nutrients does your lawn need in the fall? The answer lies in 2 other crucial macronutrients, phosphorus and potassium. These play a key role in preparing your lawn for winter. Phosphorus, for instance, is vital for developing and strengthening the root system. Strong, deep roots are precisely what ensure successful winter survival and a fast spring comeback. Potassium, meanwhile, boosts the plant's overall health and immunity. It enhances the grass's resistance to diseases, drought, and, crucially for us, to cold temperatures. Potassium even helps the cells store vital, anti-freeze sugars. Therefore, look for fertilisers in stores with a special fall label. Their formulas will feature minimal to zero nitrogen, N, while maximising phosphorus, P, and potassium, K levels. This type of feeding won't give your lawn a false growth boost, but real strength and resilience for the long winter ahead. Now let's talk about watering. During summer, we're accustomed to frequent, generous watering, but come fall, that strategy needs to shift. As sunlight diminishes and temperatures drop, evaporation from the soil surface and grass blades significantly decreases. The grass itself also requires less water. Overwatering in September and October can actually do more harm than good. Consistently wet, oversaturated soil, combined with cool weather, creates the perfect breeding ground for rot and fungal diseases. including that notorious snow mould. Therefore, you should gradually reduce your watering. However, don't let the lawn completely dry out before winter either. That would weaken it. It's all about finding the right balance. Let the weather be your guide. If you're getting regular autumn rainfall, then additional watering likely won't be necessary. However, if conditions are dry, a moderate watering every 7 to 10 days should be sufficient to maintain adequate moisture in the root zone. One essential task you must tackle regularly throughout the fall is clearing fallen leaves from your lawn. As beautiful as that golden carpet of leaves might look on your green turf, it poses a serious threat to its health. A dense, wet, matted layer of leaves acts like a suffocating blanket. It completely blocks sunlight, halting photosynthesis, and, even worse, it cuts off vital airflow. Beneath this leafy blanket, a damp, airless environment is created, a perfect incubator for mould, fungi, and rot-inducing bacteria. The grass underneath starts to decay, turn yellow, and ultimately die. So, arm yourself with a rake or a leaf blower and be relentless. It's especially crucial to perform a final, thorough leaf cleanup just before the first snow. This ensures your lawn goes into winter clean and can breathe freely, even beneath a blanket of snow. September isn't just about getting ready for winter. It's also the perfect time for some essential lawn maintenance. If your lawn has developed thin patches, worn out paths, or bare spots over the summer, don't put off fixing them until spring. Early autumn, in fact, is the absolute best time to overseed your lawn. Why? The soil is still warm, but the scorching summer heat has passed. Autumn rains provide natural irrigation, and weeds aren't as aggressive as they are in spring and summer. Seeds sown in September will have ample time to not only germinate but also to establish a strong root system and fortify themselves before the first hard frosts arrive. Come spring, this young grass will be among the first to emerge, and by early summer, your lawn will transform into a dense, uniform, flawless green carpet. The key is not to delay overseeding until October, ensuring your new seedlings have at least 3 to 4 weeks of warm weather to get established. To wrap up this segment, here's one final thought. Don't be afraid if your lawn looks a little shaggy as it heads into winter. Resist the urge to be a perfectionist that demands a perfectly smooth, super short look for your lawn in autumn. Right now, your objective isn't outward beauty, but inner health and resilience. This slightly longer, yet strong and nutrient-rich lawn, standing at 2 to 3 inches, isn't a sign of laziness or neglect. On the contrary, it's a testament to your smart gardening practices. It's the appearance of a healthy, robust organism, fully prepared for the challenges ahead. Remember this, a perfectly smooth, closely mown lawn in autumn is your enemy, not your friend. And that healthy bit of shagginess is your guarantee that come spring, you'll be spending your time simply enjoying its vibrant emerald freshness, rather than trying to revive it. Let's paint a picture of a truly disastrous scenario, one that's unfortunately all too common. Here's the perfect recipe for lawn disaster. In late September, you mow your lawn almost to the ground, stripping it of its last reserves of energy. Then, perhaps unknowingly, you spread the last of your summer, nitrogen-rich fertilizer, forcing it to waste energy on unproductive growth. To top it all off, you blanket the entire thing with a thick, wet layer of fallen leaves, creating a suffocating greenhouse effect. Come spring, you're guaranteed to be left with a weak, sickly lawn, riddled with bare patches, vulnerable to snow mould, and quickly overrun by weeds. This isn't just a mistake, it's a complete knockout for your lawn. The main takeaway from all this is simple. In September, we're not just putting the lawn to bed for winter, we're helping it build up strength for a long, healthy dormancy. Your goal isn't just cosmetic, it's about strengthening it from the inside out. Remember these 3 simple steps. Mow higher than you do in summer, feed it with a specialised autumn fertiliser rich in potassium and phosphorus, and clear fallen leaves promptly. These actions, not a shortcut, are the true secret to a lush, healthy and emerald green lawn next spring. Thanks for watching this video all the way to the end. I hope you found it helpful. If you did, Please give it a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel so you don't miss out on more tips. Now, a question for you. What autumn lawn care mistakes have you made in the past? Or perhaps you have your own tried and true secret for preparing your lawn for winter. Share your experience in the comments below. Let's discuss.